love the girl holding me up, I'm not been horrible. I'm redefining what you see when you look at me. So, I'll be safe, breathing in. I'll be safe, I'm so safe. I'll be safe, breathing in. I'll be safe, I'm so safe. Your child, your hands through trials. You on the ground, so you couldn't be found. I even felt your shoes when they tell that you do. I think it's safe to say I paid my dues. Your presence is reviving me, destroying the black family. You took the rays and I see no one takes no community. Like miracle hope and hate my tears. Hold me tight 'cause I fear if we don't fix it now, we never will. So you must now be safe, breathing in. Now be safe, I'm so safe. Now be safe, breathing in. Now be safe, I'm so safe. Don't you remember? It was I who swayed with the beat of the drum, performing in a key alarm dance that would lift your spirit into an ancestral trance. I was the mother and the land, but now I've been reduced and I'm often an object of your angry hands. I survived the middle passage with you, marched a picket line beside you, endured for you. Don't you remember? Recognize my wealth, because if God made anything better than a black woman, he kept it for himself. Now be safe, breathing in. Now be safe, I'm so safe. Now be safe, breathing in. Now be safe, I'm so
Peace, and welcome to the Message to the Black Fan program here live on War on the Horizon Radio. I am your host, Angela Freeman, also known, at least on War on the Horizon, as Lady Shabazz. Okay, so today I have a very, hopefully very interesting program for you. Now, the subject matter is really something that gets on my nerves, and as everybody knows, Message to the Black Fam is a really family-friendly program. Unfortunately, in the year I had as a hiatus, I don't know what happened. My mouth just began to sound more and more like a sailor. So I have this thing that I do because they say that people only use profanity when they don't have the vocabulary to say what they actually want to say. So because I feel like some of those words might want to come flying out of my mouth tonight, I actually have out my thesaurus. So if you hear me saying some words today that sound a little funny, sound like they really shouldn't be coming out of my mouth, that's why. Because I'm coming up with a creative way to say some of the things that I really want to say without actually saying them, so that I can do my best to make this a child-friendly program today. So with that said, today's topic is who in the hell left the gate open. Okay, so I don't know when this was. Probably sometime within the last year. There was a video going around, and I'm not sure if you saw it or not. It was kind of funny at first. It was this white woman, and she had did like a YouTube video or something, and she had just discovered shea butter. And her thing was sitting there saying, what's up? How y'all black girls keep this a secret? Why didn't you tell me about the shea butter? Now my skin looking good, blah, blah, blah. why didn't you tell me about the shea butter? And she was just going off like she was so offended. And at first, like, for a couple seconds, it was kind of funny because you laughing like, this dumb white broad don't know about shea butter. Good, you ain't supposed to know. But as I sat there and watched, I started getting more and more offended. Like, these broads really think that it's our responsibility to let them in on all of our secrets, no matter how big or how little. Like, we're not supposed to have anything to ourselves. Now, we all know that white people, of course, keep everything secret, or a lot of things secret. That's how they're able to continue a system of racism, white supremacy that we are being oppressed under. But us, we can't have anything to ourselves. And it really annoyed me because a lot of Negroes go along with that. They get so flattered that anybody is even a little bit interested in them that anytime that we possibly have a secret, they want to share it. We can never have anything to ourselves, and the more white people we let in, as far as they're concerned, the better. And it just drives me crazy. And so I remember seeing that video, and I was a little irked. And then, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, I was actually down at this store down in Detroit at the market, and they sell whipped shea butter products. I go down there. They're scented, real nice products. So I'm down there a lot. So I'm sitting down there. I got some shea butter, and of course, anybody that's married always knows when you get products, your husband always end up going in your products. They can never get their own stuff. So my husband had tried my shea butter, and he liked it, and he wanted some. And so I could see where this was going. So I said, no, I'm taking you down there, and you going to get your own. Number one, you don't need to be wearing this strawberry scent. Number two, you ain't going to be in my stuff. So we go down there, and there was a fragrance there, Kush. And so I smelled it. I was like, oh, that smells good. Try this Kush. And handed it to him. Of course, it's a cracker because they're gentrifying Detroit. So this cracker come over, and she's like, oh, Kush, what is that? And she expects me to have this conversation with her. Now, I'm not going to say what I would normally do if I was alone, but I wasn't alone. My husband was there. So I had to contain myself because, sometimes I can be a little bit on the belligerent side. And he likes to hold it against me. He knows that I love Khalid Muhammad. Everybody knows that. That's no secret. And so he'll always say, what would Khalid do? Khalid always said, be civilized even if you're dealing with the devil. So you can't just be acting uncivilized and belligerent and whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to cuss this cracker out. I just looked at her. I kind of gave her the look and turned around and walked to the other side of the store. Got my stuff and walked to the other side of the store. So she was just sitting there looking dumbfounded. And it just took me back to that video I saw originally about the shea butter. Like, you think that I have a responsibility to educate you about something that's none of your business. Or I have the responsibility to accept you in somewhere where you don't belong. So all that to say, it's just a little short story, kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. Because back in July at some point, I was just on Facebook, chilling, reading people's posts or whatever. And I see this cracker come on. And actually, I had seen this picture before. It's a picture of this cracker and these two effeminized dudes, Booker T. Coleman and what is his name, Michael Beckwith or something. The one that said homosexuality is a gift from God. I don't know what neither of these dudes' sexual preferences, but I know they're both effeminized as hell. And they're standing there with this cracker. I remember seeing that picture before, and I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe she ain't a crap. Maybe she's something. I don't know. Somebody, sometimes mixed people come out and they look more white than black. I don't know, who this is, what this is. So I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. But then I'm sitting there sometime in July, and I see Irritated Genie tagged in this post, and it's this cracker, actually trying to call him out. I'm like, what the hell? This girl sitting up here talking about, and I think later on she put SETI into it too. She's sitting here talking about how he's disrespecting the elders, these effeminized elders like Hagen and Booker T. Coleman, and how our ancestors are not going to tolerate it, and how he's wrong for being against the LGBT community and all this BS. And I'm like, who the hell is this cracker? I'm sitting there really, really getting upset because I'm sitting there she is talking number one, she has someplace in this community. Number two, like we got the same ancestors. Like she can lay claim to my ancestors. Number three, it's telling us that we're wrong for being against homosexuality. And four, who the hell does she think she is gonna call out my brother like this? And I'm sitting there really like, I don't know where she lived. I wish she lived in Detroit. Oh my God, I wish she lived in Detroit, but she don't. And it's a good thing because then my husband would be complaining about it a little bit more than me being belligerent. Luckily, she does not live in Detroit, so we don't have to worry about that. But it irked me, and it took me, like I said, back to that silly shea butter video at the very beginning that I talked about. Now, as I saw this, I kind of researched her a little bit more. I still don't know a lot about her, just enough. Some of the things that irked me, number one, she claims our ancestors as her ancestors. And she's very deceitful because she's white. She's not white, but she tries. She's white, definitely, but she tries to create confusion about her and make people think maybe she's mixed, maybe she's something else. It's obvious she's had surgery. She kind of got that weird white woman surgery look, but she tries to create confusion so that we will accept her. So she's claiming our ancestors. This effeminized Booker T. Coleman ponytail wearing dude has granted her a Kemetic name. She's given her a name of one of our deities, like she is one of us, basically stealing our birthright. That's what these, I'm looking at my thesaurus. Okay, that's what these wenches do. We'll go with wench. So that's another thing. She tries to check black people. I was listening to this interview where she's talking about, using Egypt versus Kemet, and she took this very authoritative tone, like, yes, we will not use that term, and I will not use this term. It's Kemet, it's not Egypt. As if she can tell somebody else what to call something. Now, yes, she's right. We do call it Kemet. We don't call it Egypt. But that's not for her to decide. She also gave false information as far as Africa and saying that it was named after a white man when it's actually the reverse. The white man was named after Africa. So she gives false information, but she sets herself up as the authority as though we should listen to her. And it just amazes me because haven't we been through this so many times? She has so many supporters, and I'm just like, when are we ever going to be sophisticated enough to see the BS that's being pulled? You let these little, okay, I'm back to the thesaurus, these ogresses in. I'm going to try hard not to cuss today. So we let them in, let them get feel like they got a little bit of authority, and next thing you know, they're telling us what to do. Next thing you know, they feel like they can actually tell people like Irritated Genie and whoever else, whatever other leaders we have, what to do and what not to do, and call them out as if she's black, as if she should even be on a level to even address them. She's obviously a culture bandit. Like I said, she's not honest about her ancestry. And I'm sitting there wondering, because she said, well, number one, she used to be a drug addict, supposedly. She said that she hasn't had a job in years, since like 2006 or something. So obviously she's another one of these pulpit pimps who is living off the charity of people. My thing is, who is she dating? Because in this interview that I listened to, she said that she basically was not talking to white people. She seemed like she kind of alienated herself from white people. I would imagine probably because she tried to go into the white community first, and they probably wasn't trying to hear her. And so she knows that a lot of times in the conscious community, we will listen to any damn body. So she probably just came over to the conscious community after she was rejected by white people. That's my guess. Could be wrong. But if she's not talking to white people, if she doesn't like white people now all of a sudden, who is she dating? Some of you guys will say it's none of my business, but I would suspect that if she's heterosexual, which she's a European, so who knows? But if she is a heterosexual, I would imagine that she would probably be dating a black man, or a man who is not white. I would imagine a black man. Now I'm wondering if sisters will have a problem with that, if that's true. Again, I don't know, but it makes sense to me. The thing about these kind of women is a lot of times they love black men, and even though black women support them, they hate black women. And I know for a fact, a War on the Horizon supporter said that she had got into it with this sister, and this sister had got into it with this cracker, and the cracker had called her a black B word. And from my understanding, I think it was Ray Hagan's. You guys can call in and correct me if I'm wrong. When Ray Hagan found out about it, he just said, well, what did you say to her? Not like under no circumstances would that be okay. If you love black people so much, then you would never use that in an insulting way. Even if you're going to demean her as a woman, why would you put black in front of it? It makes absolutely no sense. But then again, it makes all the sense in the world. So this is the kind of cracker that we're dealing with, and why I'm doing this show today, because these effeminized men keep letting these harlots in. They let these trollops in, and next thing you know, they feel like they're running things. They feel like they are above the rest of us. They think that our birthright is theirs, and they actually try to steal our birthright. I have a severe problem with that, and I think you guys should too. So I'm curious, how do you feel about this? Now, this show is not going to be all about this wench because she's not that important. I just wanted to call her out because I saw that when she tagged the Irritated Genie back in July, and I really wanted to address it then. But I'm not one of these internet thugs who like to just do things on the internet. I'm like, well, just come to Detroit or DC. I'm sure that, if somebody in DC that would like to handle you too. That's how I feel. So what I'm going to do, because I want y'all to really see how y'all get played, I want you to listen to this and compare and contrast. The first interview, this first clip I'm going to play, is a clip where she is being interviewed by a black person. I want you to listen to the language, listen to the tone of voice, how she speaks. Listen to all that very carefully, because we're going to compare and contrast it in just a moment.
No problem. I first want to say which means in Metanetter, life, prosperity, health to you and all your listeners.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful with you, Shea.
Thank you very much for coming on. It's been a long time in the making. I was giving the listeners a little overview about the One Life campaign, and the purpose is to liberate the mind. For when you can liberate the mind of an individual, you are liberating humanity. I guess that's your mission statement. Tell us about the One Life campaign.
Well, One Life campaign was a vision that was given to me in 2006. And it really was the culmination of my whole life. I had watched the destruction to and I'm going to say Akabalan, so that means for your listening viewers, that is the indigenous name of Africa. I won't use the word Africa because the word came from a Roman general who had conquered a portion of the continent and therefore was able to name that portion of the continent after himself, and his name was typical Africanus. So for me, I cannot use that word. I cannot use words that the oppressors have impregnated within the Akabalan community over and over again. So when you hear me say Akabalan, I am speaking about the continent Africa or Africans. So how One Life campaign began was, as I said, it was the totality of my whole life. I knew at a very young age that those of Akabalan descent were very powerful. I knew by the time I was 6 years old, I knew the energetic vibrational field of what racism was. You see, I had to first know who Akabalans were. And the way that happened was I was a 5-year-old in front of my front lawn playing, and 2 adults walk across the pathway, and I hear them say the word Africa. And an energy hit my body so hard that I was startled, obviously at 5 years old, and walked into my home and demanded my mother to take me to Africa. And I thought Africa was like down the street. I wasn't understanding what I had understood the energy, but I did not understand what that meant. And, to my mother's credit, I give thanks for her life. She first said, I can't take you there by car. She got out of the globe and showed me where it was at. And she said, it'll take many planes to get you there. And she said to me, why do you have to go? And I said, because that's my home. That's where I was born. And through the divine wisdom of my mother, she never shut that down. She actually propelled me to investigate, and I did. So through my lifetime, including being raised up in the Midwest, I remember being in junior high school, and there was an injustice happening to somebody of Afro-Milan descent. And I jumped in the middle of it, and meaning I fought on their side. And because I did that, I was jumped, a week later by both men and boys and girls in junior high school. And I was called, and I'm going to use their words, a nigger lover.
Okay, so she jumped in our fight. So obviously, since you said there, obviously she's not included in that. And she was called an N-word lover. Now, you're not going to call somebody that if they're black, obviously. But did you hear how she talks, how she's running her game like she's black and blah, blah, blah? Okay, now, how does she conduct herself when she's being interviewed by another cracker? All of a sudden, she goes Valley Girl on us. And let's see how much she's talking about Africa and Al-Kibalan and all this kind of stuff when she's around her own people.
Hello, Reverend Danny. Hello, Lou. So great to connect with you. You too. You are so beautiful. You're shining, spiritual, beautiful human being. Oh my goodness. You too. Thank you. Thank you. So I look forward, hearing about your story and connecting with you because I heard great things and you're known as a spiritual teacher. You've been around Michael Beckwith for a long time now, and you're a minister. Yes. So tell us how this all started. What is your story? How did you get involved? How did you become a minister?
Well, the call was always on me. It was from a young age. I understood spirit from the idea that we were never separated from it. I didn't believe in a punishing God. I didn't believe in any of that. In fact, I grew up in a family of Catholicism, of priests and nuns. Uncles and aunts that were priests and nuns. And I remember the first time I went to church and the priest was speaking and there was such duality at a young age. I was like, God cannot be love and God cannot be punishing. It's a duality. And so I literally closed my ears down. But what I did and what I saw was this amazing devotion. I saw, my grandmother and everybody singing really loud, and their faith and their devotion was powerful. And so during my life, I really thought about a spirit that I was always interconnected with, that there was no separation, that there was nothing I could do that would keep me separate from spirit. And, my life was an interesting life. I was a drug addict. I was a lot of things. But all those things that I did is not who I really was. But all those things prepared me to step into the place that I'm currently in with One Life Campaign. So the journey of being a drug addict, the journey of everything that I did, as somebody maybe observing it would think, that's a crazy life. But that so-called crazy life is what prepared me to stand before people who have done destruction to humanity. And I understand the armor it takes to do those things. You have to put an armor literally over you, because if you could feel what you were doing to somebody, it would crush you. It's almost like you kill yourself. So there's this armor that goes up, above you. So everything, prepared me for it. And how I got to New Thought teaching was I had already been reading, unbeknownst to me, people from New Thought.
Okay, we're gonna stop it there because she's boring as hell. But if you can tell, that don't even sound like the same person. When she's around us, she's saying one thing, trying to get in our good graces, and then people are falling for it, like a bunch of Negroes that they are. When she's around her own people, it's completely different. It's Becky comes out. It's amazing to me. And they flip the script so many times, and we never call them on it. We never see it just because we're so happy that some cracker actually wants to be involved in us or learn about our culture or whatever. But they only do it so that they can, number one, get our men, number two, oppress us, and continue white supremacy, racism, white supremacy on. The Negro mind doesn't grasp this. And I know right now it's going to be some YouTube trolls when I post this who are going to tell me I shouldn't be saying this, you light-skinned too, blah, blah, blah. Light skin is not white. She's claiming our ancestors. She's claiming a Kemetic name. It should be a smack in the face to any black woman in her proper mindset. But because we don't have a proper mindset, you actually have black men and women defending this horror. So I see the phone lines are getting lit up. I hope that you guys are going to call in and tell me what you think. Hopefully I'm not the only person disturbed by this. But it's not just this woman. This is one example of it. I mean, people who we tend to think very highly of did the same thing. Look at the Moors. They take all of our secrets, all of our civilization, go into Europe, and give them the power that they needed to be in the position they're in now. Instead of just leaving them in their filth and ignorance, they go, enlighten them, and now we're having to deal with them today. Mansa Musa goes around showboating, flossing, got to show everybody what we got in Africa. Now everybody's coming to exploit us. We do this over and over and over again. I've even seen in the Yoruba community these white people practicing Yoruba, dressing in our gowns. It's disgusting. It's sickening. And when are we going to get to the point where we stop being flattered by these people and start taking them the hell out when they're trying to steal our birthright? It's disgusting. So I had all of this going on in my mind, to make a long story even longer. And I happened to be on Facebook one day, and I saw a video by my sister Freya, and she was actually speaking on this, on how we should keep certain things private. We give out too much information, and in doing so, we are giving away our power. And I watched that video, and I said, that's exactly what I've been feeling like for a long time. It's been on my mind for quite a while. So I thought it would be good to do a program on this, because I think a lot of us just don't pay attention, whether it's telling too much about your life, where that can be used against you, whether it's, showing sacred rituals, whether we do a lot of stupid stuff. We're too open. A lot of people think secret societies are satanic and all that. Now, yes, when Europeans do it, a lot of times it is. Anything they're going to do is going to be satanic. But I almost feel like, because secret societies are really from Kemet, I really feel like it's time for us to get some secret societies going again, because we're giving out too much of our information. It doesn't need to be given out to mindless Negroes who are not going to protect it and don't know what to do with it. It also doesn't need to be given out to these crackers and others who want to come in and steal our birthright from us. So because I saw that video, I said, we should really do a show about that. And so I'm going to bring my sister Freya on now. She is an awesome sister. She is a doula. She works in the community. She does all kinds of things, and she's really, really a brilliant sister with a lot to say. So I just wanted to address that cracker, just because that's something I wanted to do ever since I saw it. And since she don't live in my hood, ain't nothing I can really do about it but talk anyway. But we're going to go on and progress. Callers, you can definitely speak on this, or you can speak on just the topic in general, how we are giving away too much information. The call-in number is 760-569-7676, participation code 948656#. So without further ado, I've been running my mouth way too long. I am going to bring on my sister. Sister Freya, are you with me?
Peace and love, sis. I'm here.
Peace and love. I told you it was going to be a long introduction once I get to talking.
It was perfect.
Good. Now, what made you want to do that video? It was an excellent video, and I'm going to share it again on my Facebook page later, so if anybody is Facebook friends with me, they can see it. What made you want to do that video?
It was various reasons. Sis, do you have echo on your line? Is it sounding okay?
It's sounding okay to me. If anybody else is hearing an echo, please let me know. You guys can send me a message. I know I got some people listening.
Okay. I did the video for various reasons. I had gone to some events, and before I even got home, it was basically blasted all over Facebook, where I had been. Pictures were taken of me that I didn't authorize, and that happens sometimes, where I think I'm just in a community doing work, and somebody's taking a picture of me doing stuff, and then they post it on Facebook. And they didn't ask me, hey, is it okay if I take your picture or anything? And so then I have to go back and try to clean it up. Hey, brother or sister, would you mind taking this picture down? And it just made me wonder, like, why the compulsion to be so, why do we have to be so picture happy? Why do we have to take so many, document every last step that we do? We have to, have a roster of everybody that was at such and such a meeting. We are so open to anybody random people that come in, that are outsiders who are not of African descent, to just come into the circles and observe or participate, and we just divulge everything, and we're just so free and comfortable with them, and there's just no level of, it seems like we were just handling not only ourselves and our information and what we're doing, just so, like, without a lot of reverence for what we're doing, like not a lot of seriousness about what we're doing. And there's, like, when do we close the door and say, okay, we really need to go within and do some work among ourselves. We don't need outsiders to come in and be participating in what we have going on. And in fact, what we've learned through history over time and considering their current nature, when we invite them in, we already have a hard enough time just dealing with each other post-chattel slavery. We're still working out our own issues, but we know that when we invite our open enemy into our circles, that it's definitely going to be destructive, and it's not going to go anywhere, and it's not going to be something that is going to be African liberation. It's going to be some type of, when they get involved, it becomes something like, just how do we survive underneath white supremacy? How do we negotiate and beg for, scraps or less brutality? And it just becomes something else. The objective does not. It then shifts away from becoming total liberation right now to, let me just get along with the cracker, and that's not what we really need to do as a people. So that's why I did the video. I've just seen so much in my few decades on this earth. I've been just in every circle that you can imagine, and how I ended up where I am today, which is so clear-minded about what we need to be free, and about nation building, and about African-centered reality, and really restoring world order, which means black people being back on top. That I've seen it all. I've heard it all. I've dealt with every type of integrationist you could imagine. And so that just, it really informs a lot, and that's why I did the video. It was kind of me venting, but I'm glad you liked it.
Definitely. Now, for the people, because you know what, it makes no sense. Like, those of us who are a little bit older and mature should know these things. However, for the younger people who may not have quite as much life experience, who are sitting there thinking, what's the big deal? It's just Facebook. I mean, I went to this ceremony. I thought it was cool. I want everybody to know I was there and see who was there. What's the problem? What would you say to that person?
Okay. What I would say to that person is, okay, I would encourage them to study. I would encourage them to look into the Dogon, to look into all these different ancient spiritual practices that we have. I would encourage them to study the Haitian Revolution. Study the Haitian Revolution so that you can understand how your ancestors were able to overthrow that brutal, that brutal cracker in Haiti, in Quisqueya. How were they able to do that? And a really important aspect of the revolution was voodoo. The ancestors came and spoke to them and told them, what types of herbs to use to poison, these those devils. and what to do and where to go and all kinds of different spiritual things that were happening that really helped them to liberate themselves. So that's how important what these ceremonies have the potential to be if you treat them with the proper amount of reverence. That's what I would tell someone like that. What you're doing is important. Now, if you want to desecrate our African spirituality, it really opens you up to a lot of misfortune within your own life. Because once you call upon these ancestors to come and to really move throughout your life, depending on which ancestors you call, it really leaves you open to a lot of either misfortune or a lot of benefit. But it depends on how you handle the information. So that means you need to revere the information. That means that you need to find credible spiritual leaders to guide you. Don't just go this thing willy-nilly and watch a YouTube video and just kind of do your own thing. Actually find a godmother or a godfather or an elder, a community that can help you be accountable and help you walk through the information. Treat it with respect. There's no way that we can walk as African people through this world and command respect if we don't respect ourselves and if we don't respect our own information. So first it comes from within, and then once you start walking with your head up high and being confident and revering your own information, everybody has no choice but to bow down to you, because then you will be walking into your true God and Goddess self.
Yes, ma'am. And I just go back to I'm open-minded. As far as I say, my religion is race first. That is my religion. People say, well, she's this, she's that. No, my religion is race first. So I was just curious about some African spirituality, so I started hanging around some of the Yoruba community, and there's a lot of beauty to it. I love the music. I love, learning about deities and things like that and relating it to ourselves. But the thing that bothered me was because so much of it seemed to openly embrace white people. And I said, this could never be a religion for me because there's something wrong there. Any religion where you're letting in your enemy, something is wrong. There should be, and maybe there is. It's probably just in our practice of it. But there has to be some kind of break, some kind of emergency break that you can pump on when you start seeing these crackers in there, when you start seeing these people and a cracker's the one initiating you or you're going to this ceremony or whatever, and it's a cracker right up in there. I'm like, what the hell is this? So right. Even though there's aspects of it that I really like and I'm really drawn to, I knew that, I'd always keep that kind of at arm's length because there's no way that I'm going to be a part of anything sacred, and then turn around and see Becky there, or turn around and see Reverend Danny there, or Danielle, whatever. She looked like a tranny, all the daggone surgery she got on her face. It's no way. I swear, it's crazy. It's crazy, because these people, and sometimes, and I'm going to tell for real, black women, we got to get back to natural beauty, because I've had this experience with black women who wear a lot of makeup. When you do all that, sometimes, I got to look at you like, is that for real a girl? Is that a tranny? What is it? Because I'm so used to trannies wearing all this makeup, and when you come out with these eyelashes and a pound of foundation, all that, you look like a tranny. Well, same thing with this heifer, because she done had so much work done trying to look more black. She's starting to kind of have that same tranny look. So I don't know if her name is Danny, Danielle, her, him, it's whatever. But when I see her, I'm just sitting there like, how are these people letting her in? Now, we do know the history of homosexuality and effeminization, and we do know that these are always race traitors, and they always leave the gate open for these broads all the time. So it's obvious how she's getting in, but so many of us are accepting her, and that's something that really turned me off. What would you say to the people who say, what's wrong with it? She seems to be good-hearted. That's what the ponytail Negro said. She seems to be good-hearted, and so I gave her this name, and she's okay, I believe. She's working for the liberation of our people. What would you say about that?
Well, I would say that those people have amnesia. I would say that they have amnesia, and they have selective amnesia. These are the people who go along to get along until they get bitten, So, everything is fine until something happens to them personally, or something happens to them within their own family, or somebody that they can see. When they get betrayed or killed or murdered, or somehow, the atrocities of this creature, this obsolete minority, comes and attach them. But they get selective amnesia. They don't understand that the nature of the creature, the obsolete minority, which we call the cracker. They conveniently forget about the nature, and they want to make exceptions for certain ones. Well, she's okay, she's not like the rest of them, or this person is okay, or I just wouldn't feel right asking so-and-so to leave the room. I have a bad reputation. I mean, among my War on the Horizon family, it's cool. But here, in my community where I live, I have a bad reputation for asking white people to get out, to the point where, if they want me to come and speak, if they know, non-black people are going to be there, they ask me ahead of time, is it okay? Because my reputation precedes me. So, but I don't mind. Like, I don't mind being disliked or people saying stuff about me. Like, I really don't care, because, I'm standing on the principle of what I have known to be a clarity about the nature of the beast. And I never forget about that. I took a detox from all of them for a very long time and didn't deal with them at all. I just recently actually started, dealing with them on a business level in certain areas. And what sort of guides my principles of how I deal with them is an interview that Muhammad Ali did, which anybody can go on YouTube and find. I think he did it with Parkinson, and he talks about, he tried to catch him up. He said, well, you have white friends, so, the white man can't be the devil if you're friends with him. He said, hold on, whoa, they're not my friends. They're business associates, I do business like everybody else do business. We're doing business right now with me on your show, that doesn't mean we're friends. And so that's kind of the token, that's what informs how I deal with them. And I think that among the so-called conscious community, or the Pan-Africanists, the black nationals, that's what we have to sort of take on about. We have to decide as a group, first of all, how are we going to deal with them? And we also have to decide how are we going to deal with integrationists that want to bring them in. How are we going to deal with our people who are married to non-black people? Because I'll tell you, I will deal with them on a certain level. But, the pillow talk is going to win. You know that their allegiance is not with the black nationalist movement, right? I mean, we know that. At the end of the day, they're going to side with their non-black spouse. So if something hits the fan, that person can be a huge liability in terms of just military thinking and tactical thinking. That person is a huge liability. And, really have to try to minimize liability as much as you can when you're trying to organize to be free to actually build institutions and communities that are going to support all the things that we're fighting for. We're fighting for families. We're fighting for black families to stay together. We're fighting for our children to be educated in a proper way, that they will grow up to be able to be productive contributors to the black nation. We are fighting for decency. We're fighting for morality. We are working for sisterhood, brotherhood, coming together and really reclaiming ourselves and healing ourselves. And it not just, fantasizing about what our ancestors built and reminiscing, but actually building some things that are quite amazing now, So that's what we're up against. And any time that a black person is ushered in the back door, through the side door, through the window, or lurking, around the corner, or however way they are a threat to our collective objectives, period, point blank. So we have to shut those people down, however way that has to look. And I know for me, my circle has gotten pretty darn small. When I first sort of came into clarity, there were people in my family that unfriended me or, stopped talking to me or called my grandma and asked if I was taking medication, what's wrong with me, why am I, saying all these things about white people, they ain't that bad. I had one aunt tell me that, her son was married to a white woman, and she said, if it's in between my daughter-in-law and you, I choose her. And I had to, okay, all right, I got you. But those are sort of some things, that, and I think that we, as the strong Black nationalists, we really have to stick together because, and build a really healthy community among ourselves, because going out into the general population can be a very lonely road. When you are this solid and you are this non-compromising on what we are building as Black nationalists, you can be really ostracized. I mean, people that I've known for years will not speak to me, won't speak to me because, I feel X, Y, and Z about homosexuality, or I feel X, Y, and Z about, not dealing with white people. They've sort of written me off as a Looney Tune. But I look at it as like, well, actually, this is the only logical conclusion that I could come to after doing years of research, spinning my wheels. I don't know if anybody else can relate, but I've been through everything. I've learned about Marxism and communism and feminism and modern-day human rights. I lobbied. I petitioned. I marched, I begged, I went to Congress, I went to the state, I went to the city hall, I did this, I did all of that. I was spinning my wheels, and I said, why can't I get these people to understand, like, you shouldn't go and bomb this country. You shouldn't poison a whole village. You shouldn't commit genocide. It's wrong. And if I can just present the information to you in an eloquent enough manner, then you will have the compassion to stop killing my people. If I just do the presentation right, if I just beg you right, if I just get enough people to sign my petition, right? But then when I learned that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him, said the white man is a devil, the wheels in my head started turning. Oh, so that's why they commit genocide. Okay, it's starting to make sense to me. This is the nature of this creature. And there's no amount of a presentation and begging that is going to give them the compassion that of an African person. And I think that what we have as African people, which is this deep sense of humanity and love and being at one with the earth, we don't see the earth as something that we want to kill and destroy and conquer. We see it as something, we just want to live. I just want to live my life and be happy, and I ain't thinking about oppressing the next one. That's what we think. That's how we, as African people, indigenous people, operate. But the way they operate is they see a land, they see some trees, they're thinking about, I can cut them trees down, I can flip that money, I can make some money, I can go imprison those people, make them cut the trees for me, you know what I'm saying, put them in debt, and then have them buy the stuff they need for me. You see, that's how their mind thinks. Kill, destroy, murder, plunder, pillage, period. That's what it is. And as soon as we, as a Black nationalist community, say, you know what, enough, we are absolutely not going to make any excuses, and we're not going to spin our wheels because it's really a waste of time. And I've seen on the information put out by War on the Horizon and Brother Irritated Genie, where the question is, our people can spend so much time trying to figure out, well, why are they shooting at me? Are they shooting at me because I'm Black? Are they shooting at me because they want my oil? Are they shooting at me because they had a bad day? Are they shooting at me because there's uranium or there's copper that they're trying to get a hold of? Why are they? And we spend so much time analyzing. Meanwhile, we're getting shot. Who cares? You're getting shot. Shoot back. Stop trying to analyze what are the motivations of the evil atrocities that this obsolete minority commits on our people, and have a natural response, a response of self-preservation, a response of self-determination, a response of love and respect for self.
Yes, ma'am. I have two questions for you, and that was very well said. The first one, how do you feel when you see these hussies walking This thesaurus is killing me today, people. Okay, when you see these little hussies and floozies walking around with these locks, so-called locks, I just think it's a hot mess. It's really not locks because they don't have the right hair texture for it. But, maybe they're wearing some kente cloth and, they're talking about, like, this heifer talking about, our ancestors and this is the proper way to address Africa and basically schooling us, stealing our culture, trying to be down the best they can. How does that make you as a black woman feel? And the second question, why out of everybody in the world do you think black women are so accepting of these harlots, the majority of them? Because I think that we're in the minority. So a lot of times the people that feel like us are in the minority, and that's why these effeminized males can bring these hookers in front of us and still be considered black leaders. Because so many of us are so in love with these she-devils that we have nothing to say about it. So how does it make you feel when you see these little wannabes trying to steal your birthright? And why do you think so many black women do not feel the same way?
Okay. It pisses me off. It's irritating. I'll be honest with you. I would rather deal with a straight up, in other words, I have more in common with like an NRA white person, gun rights, and I can't stand your black ass, and I can't stand your white ass, and we have an agreement on that. You know what I'm saying? And we come together and we do business and we go about our own way. We probably feel the same way about a lot of stuff. And there was white people back in the day that were advocating for separation, just give the black folks their own land. And I agree with that. Let us live among ourselves, and y'all go off and y'all live among yourselves. So I prefer that type of white person because it's clear cut, have our transaction and move on. Now, with the white person, the hippie type, the granola with the locks, and she wants to tell you about goddess so-and-so, those get on my nerve because I'm like, you are irritating me. The ones who, want to come up and tell you that they took a hip-hop class, I'm like, can you go on somewhere, Becky? Like, you're just irritating the crap out of me. So really, I just minimize my interaction with them as little as I can. If I'm at an event and I'm selling products or, I'm doing a presentation and one of them comes up to me and I can't, get away fast enough, I just say what I have to say and I move on. But I don't befriend them. I don't invite them into my home and break bread with them. I don't, clue them in on anything. And if they get something wrong, I play dumb. If they say something off the wall, if they don't know something, I just play dumb. I smile and just say, I don't know, I haven't heard of that. Or, do you know where 6th Street is? No, I really don't. Even if I do, just give them misinformation and keep it moving. Why do I think that black women are so accommodating to these infiltrators? Oh, Lord. I think that many black women have not properly detoxed from the plantation. We've been reared for generations to take care of white interest, to look after white interest, to the point that we would sell our own family out. We would sell our own. We would put their agenda before our own. So what would have to happen is a proper detox from all of those subconscious impulses to be protective of white people, to take care of them. We nursed them. We took care of them before we even took care of our own children. We were loving and kind to their children and beat our children, and that was because we were trained to do so. So, that went on for hundreds of years. So you don't just forget about it the next day. And pretty much in the grand scheme of things, in terms of the timeline of how long this occupation has been happening, this is just very recent that we're coming into ourselves and remembering ourselves, developing our own agenda. And there's still remnants of that need to nurture and take care of white folks and protect them. And you would be surprised how many so-called friends I've lost in my community because, I wouldn't let their white friend come to the event, or I wouldn't, or I make the white friend feel uncomfortable, And if and when they have to choose, they choose them, not me. But I can't really feel any type of way about that. I have to keep it moving, because I just don't have time. I kind of see it like, well, thanks for revealing who you are. Now I'm more knowledgeable about who's in my circle. So I know that you're on that side. Cool. All right. So I'm just become more solid and more reinforced with the community that I do have, that we have the same objectives.
Exactly. It reminds me, I was watching this documentary called The United States of Hoodoo, I believe it was called. And it started out kind of interesting. It was going into the different voodoo communities, and it started off with black people. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. It's talking about the history and how we've used that and how powerful it is. And then about halfway through, it went from being a black documentary, and all of a sudden it went from, like, at first it was like one cracker, then it's two crackers. By the end, it's like, this is a daggone cracker documentary. What is going on? And that just reminded me so much of what you were saying about how powerful our culture is, how powerful Africa is, how powerful our melanin is, and why we want to keep giving it away. It just disgusts me, because I'm sitting here thinking, like, watching this video, like, these crackers know more about these ceremonies than I do. That's a problem. Now, part of that is my fault. I could definitely be a part of the community and learn more, as we all could. But who in the hell left the gate open? I'm sitting there thinking, do you people not understand that the same people you sitting here having do these African drums and singing these African songs are the same people that were oppressing your ancestors? These are the same people who were using this same ceremony to try to get free from these crackers, and now you got these crackers doing it. What kind of insanity is this?
Insanity.
I don't get it. There's no words for it. It just ticks me off, and I'm just sitting here looking at these hookers like, are you kidding me? A white boy playing the drums, some white broad sitting up here singing and chanting and doing all this, dancing. I'm like, what the hell kind of parallel universe are we living in when this is okay?
I think that what we have, I think that it's a very, I think it's a tall order to, I think that it can seem insurmountable, the weight that goes on your shoulders when you realize that it is your bitter enemy to the end. From the moment you're born to the moment you die, that is your enemy. You are fighting to survive, and this entity is contemplating how to kill you. And I think that instead of facing that harsh reality, people would rather lull themselves into a false sense of security. And they just don't want to believe that they have a bitter enemy. Every other community knows they have China has not let up on the cracker not one bit. They do business with them, but they know that the crackers are their mortal enemy. They've never forgot about the stuff that they did to them. They don't have amnesia. They think about it every day. They wake up thinking, how am I going to keep this cracker from invading my country and taking my stuff over? That's what motivates them every day, every day. That's what motivates them. They've accepted the reality of it is what it is. Until this being is wiped off the face of the planet, I have to protect myself from it. And I think that more of us have to accept the reality of there is no compromise. There's no, this is our bitter enemy. I'm sorry. I know it sucks. I wish it could be kumbaya, but it's not. Period. These people want to come into community. And the interesting thing is, like, we don't have to really, because they do stuff to tell on themselves. They show their own cards. We want we have culture, hip hop and jazz. We have our spirituality. We have the way we wear our hair, the way we dress, the way we talk. All of these things are things that are among our community. What do when they get a hold of it? They take it, commodify it, make money off of it. Then they rewrite the history and write you out of it like you didn't have nothing to do with hip-hop. You didn't have nothing to do with jazz. You didn't have nothing to do with any of these things. They will rewrite the history, right? And like they try to do for Kemet, and they put themselves in all these different situations in Kemet, and then they sell it back to you. They'll come up with a movie or some other type of media thing, and then sell it back to you, your own culture that you created. And this happens over and over and over and over and over again. And then we look at our people on the continent, and we look at our people here, and they go over to do these so-called missions, where they're raping our children, pillaging, stealing, spying, all kinds of foolishness. And our people there on that continent, some of them are as naive as some folks here. We are all, regardless of where African people may be, we are all in the same boat when it comes to this devil. So we don't want to believe that, oh, well, only Jimmy came and raped the little boys at the orphanage. When Joe Bob comes, Joe Bob is not going to do that. But no, Jimmy, Joe Bob, all of them are the same. They all have no regard for you as a human being. And the first moment they get, they're going to steal, rob, pillage, burn, murder, rape. They're degenerates. They're perverted. They are not us. They are a creature that is not us. I think it's very simple. And I told a friend once before, I said, because when I first started coming into, clarity about the creatures, there's a lot of books that people had read. I hadn't read any books. I'm like, I don't know what y'all talk about. I didn't know who a lot of the scholars were. I didn't know who a lot of the professors were. I didn't know a lot. All I knew was, the white man was a devil. That's all I really knew. So I was rolling with that. And so I said, well, I do want to get around to reading some more books and, learning some more different things. But if I don't learn anything else, then I think knowing that the white man is the devil is enough. Because once I know that the white man is the devil, it really informs how I operate my life. Okay, so I moved to a black neighborhood away from white people. I created a business to serve black people. I decided to educate my children myself so I wouldn't have to subject them to non-black people. I don't want to go to their hospitals. I don't want to go be with them. I don't want to go to their house. I don't want them coming to my house. I don't want to be their friend. Bam! That really set up my whole life. Just off of that one little line, the white man is the devil. It's pretty simple.
Yes, ma'am. It's clear as day to me. And we're really going to have to do something about this. I don't know what to do about the black women who are in love with white women. That just seems to be a love affair that won't die. But these effeminized coons who want to continue to parade around as black leaders and walk their little dogs in front of us like we're supposed to accept these broads, I have a real problem with that, and somebody at some point is going to need to stop talking about it and actually take some action and sit these coons down. There's no way they can continue to lead the masses of the people, and especially these Christian Negroes. I know probably the majority of their audience is black women because we like those Christian types, and even though they claim they're not Christian, you can still tell that they definitely still are. We're going to have to make them take a seat because they are leading our people in the wrong direction, and it's very easy to do that. We really are quick to go in the wrong direction, very hard to lead in the right direction. But if they're going to continue to allow these crackers in when they should be the ones standing up against it, if they're going to continue to defile everything that is sacred to us, if they are going to continue to let these cracker wenches try to steal our birthright, because that's probably what they desire in their heart of hearts to begin with, either a white woman or a white man, we're going to have to do something about it. I don't take kindly to that at all. And any, positive feelings I may have had because I saw somebody in a documentary. Actually, no, because honestly, I wasn't that impressed with Hidden Colors. It had a lot of cooning in it. It was okay as an introduction, but for people who didn't know anything, I know my father saw, his mind was blown. So to get him to kind of see some of the things I've been saying for years, I'll give it that. It worked well for that. But I was not impressed with it because there was a lot of cooning going on. And then to come to find out that this ponytail head dude is bringing this dog in front of the community, expecting us to accept her and defending her. And then this Christian Higgins or whatever, I believe it was Higgins, I could be wrong, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, going to ask her what she said to make this cracker call her a black bee. That's a problem. And I've seen somebody emailed me on a message board where she was actually trying to pretend like she wasn't white. She's such a good white woman, but she's sitting there talking about my mother looks like one of these South Africans. She looks like a South African. Your mama look like the cave dweller that she is. That's what your mama looks like. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna stop right now because you know what? This thesaurus is not working anymore, and I want to use some profane language. And I said I'm not gonna do that, so I'm just gonna stop at this point and ask you if there is anything else you want to say before we start taking calls, because I'm about to set it off. Let me stop.
Yes, ma'am. You have me quite crunk over here because you're right on point, and I think that we are responding. Thank God for Brother Irritated Genie. Thank God for you. Thank God for the whole War on the Horizon family. I mean, I've seen a lot of people come and go, but I have not seen an organization that is clear-minded as we need to be as a people to get free. There's no more backsliding or well, maybe, and making exceptions for foolishness. War on the Horizon has had a very clear vision of exactly what it takes in terms of a mental preparation, a physical preparation, and spiritual preparation in order to achieve liberation. There's many organizations who have succumbed to white infiltration. Look at the All-African Revolutionary Party. Look at the Malcolm X Grass Movement. Look at the New Black Panther Party. All of those organizations have succumbed to infiltration. But I don't believe that War on the Horizon will. So we are responding as a people. We are really the vanguards and the really staunch supporters that are going to be marching out on the forefront of our people, because even for the ones who are deaf, dumb, and blind, they're going to benefit from the work that we're putting in vicariously. They're going to benefit from the work that we put in. Not all small hats are Zionists. Some of them don't even know what it is. It doesn't matter that they don't know. They benefit from the work that the Zionists do. You see what I'm saying? They get to walk around with impunity and privilege and all of this kind of stuff because of what they're doing on the front lines. Well, in our community, we're the ones on the front lines. We're the ones who really set the tone and the barometer of what's okay and what's not okay. If anything will go down in history, no one will be able to say that all black people were okay with homosexuality. All black people were okay with integration and race mixing and all this stuff. No, we are constantly combating every single thing that comes out or different types of influences on our community that are not pro-life, that are not pro-black life. Not only do we come out, but we are proactively initiating things that will benefit and nurture the black family, because without the black family, we don't have a community. So I really appreciate you bringing me on the show. There's a couple folks that I think that people should look into, because these people like Booker T. Coleman, and there's others, Ray Hagans and stuff, they bamboozle our people with a little bit of good information. I wasn't impressed with Hidden Colors either. Like, I was really underwhelmed. But some people, they just love a good sermon. And so what the good thing about War on the Horizon is that it can constantly provide analysis for these things that are coming out and really start scrutinizing these people who step in front of our people and say, oh, I'm a leader, follow me, I've got good information. So once they give this information and it's like 80% true, it's really great, it has you feeling great to be a black person, and then boom, they slip in a little homosexuality on the back end. They slip in a little bit of integrationists. They slip in a little bit of you need to forgive and we're all one people. We're all one. It's all one race and something like that. There's
a lot of slipping into these crackers.
Yes. You're right, sis. A lot of them will, and they want you to make excuses for them. They want you to just be okay with their degeneracy, but no. So what we have to do is we really have to keep our eye. I know we all make mistakes and none of us are perfect, but there are some of our leaders who have kept a clear vision and have not watered down what we need to do to become free. I love Dr. Cambone. I love him and the work that he and his wife do. Dr. Baruti, Dr. Marimba Ali, and the Irritated Genie. All of these are leaders that we can look to really keep our minds clear on what we need to do as African people. That way we don't get bamboozled by people like the so-called Booker T. Coleman and all these, fake folks that come in with misinformation and really hinder our people. I'd heard on the show, another show that Brother Gene did, when someone called us, well, who do we send our people to? I really want to share the information of Hidden Colors or wherever else. Where do we send our people? Don't send them there, because I don't want people to get starstruck because somebody they saw in a documentary, and then that person tell you that it's okay to be with a white woman, that we're all one, because that's not true. Exactly. It's just not true.
Anybody that wants to call in, the call-in number is 760-569-7676, participation code 948-656#. And I'm coming to the phone line, but I'm going to tell you, number one, I never trust a grown man with a ponytail, number one. Number two, never trust somebody who does not love and respect the black woman. You cannot have allegiance to a race of people if you don't respect your woman, because the black man and the black woman is the only way you're going to produce a black child and have a future for the black race. And trust me, you do not respect the black woman when you parading some damn she-devil in front of us so that she can steal our birthright. When you giving her our name, our culture, our knowledge, so that she can stand up like she is the deity and we should bow down to her. It's like Beyonce, bow down, beast. I don't think so. We really have to start checking these people. So we're going to go to the phone lines. If you're just listening in, that's fine. Just say you're just listening. I'll move past you. Or if you want to make a comment, if you have something to say to our sister Freya, that is absolutely fine. But don't coon tonight. This is the wrong time. Look, I've been off the air for a year. I am not on coon. If you're going to coon, don't do it tonight. Wait for another show, because this ain't the night for it. All right. Anonymous call. You are live on War on the Horizon. Anonymous call. All right. We're moving on. 3470. You're live on War on the Horizon. 3470. Did you have a question or a comment, or are you just listening in?
I'm listening in, but you know what I'm saying. Pretty much, big ups to both of you sisters. You know what I'm saying. I like the way that you're both as clear as you are. You know what I'm saying. I'm not certain what the other sister's name is, but just keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying. Much peace and respect, and take care.
Thank you. All right. So, Sister Freya, before I go to the next call, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? I know I had a long introduction and then introduced you quickly, and I apologize for that. So just so people are familiar with who's on the line, can you tell us a little bit, just briefly, about yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Like you said, I'm Sister Freya, and I founded a company by the name of Root Mama Maternal Care, and I provide holistic birthing services, pregnancy coaching. I also have my own herbal blend line to nourish the womb, promote fertility, womb balance, healing, hormonal balance. I also do fertility consultations, and so I'm also a breastfeeding educator and a dance instructor. So that's what I do, along with a lot of community work with building the families. I mostly work with families when they're bringing new life into the world. And so if anybody wants to find out more information about my company, they can go to the website, www.rootmama.org.
All right. Okay, we have a Skype call. You're live on War on the Horizon.
Yes, I thank you all. I'm enjoying the program. I'm listening, and man, I got to get this phone call, but I just want to let y'all know I'm loving it. And I want y'all to do this program as many times as you can because it's outstanding.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Beautiful Hodiak. Now, any other time Jeannie come on the air, you know he take over my show and be talking for a half hour. How he gonna get a call? Who is Coonan calling the Jeannie during my program? What madness is this? All right, we're gonna move right along. 8888, you are live on War on the Horizon. 8888, do you have a question or a comment? All right, now look, I know that I said I can be belligerent, and I know I've been hollering and carrying on for half of this program, but don't be afraid. If you're just listening in, you can tell me you're just listening in. I'm not cussing anybody out that's calling in today. I'm assuming you're on our side, so don't don't worry about it. I just got a little hot, so I'm good, though. I'm good. 0076, you're live on War on the Horizon.
Yes, hi, ladies. I'm just listening in. You're doing a great job. Peace.
Thank you. Peace. Cousin Sharif. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Can't complain. Just enjoying you and the sister. And you had a very interesting perspective on Hidden Colors. The reason why I kind of hit home with me because I just watched part 3 last night. Personally, I think it's very good. That I wanted you and the sister view on it. One thing that I've been noticing as a trend is, it's a lot of documentaries coming out. You got that one. You got Elementary Genocide, I think it's called, School to Pipeline. And I think there's another one out called 72%, which talks about 72% of black children are born out of wedlock. But a trend that I'm seeing with these documentaries is that they don't talk about homosexuality. They kind of, hit pretty much every other point. That's why I think it's good, but I don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, they don't even touch on it. And I'm not saying a negative about the people in it, but something has to be to that if you're talking about the problems facing African people and you don't even bring up homosexuality. That has to be orchestrated before it even comes out, in my view. I just wanted to know what y'all sisters thought about that and if y'all noticed that being left out.
I did personally notice that being left out, but I also noticed that some of the people in Hidden Colors were effeminized. So since I think that they may be undercover anyway, it doesn't really surprise me that they wouldn't talk about it. That's kind of what I would expect. Sister Freya, what do you think?
Well, I will refer the brother to Brother Irritated Genie's book, War on the Horizon, and I would also refer you to some of his DVDs on homosexuality and white sex assault on the black community, because the level of documentation, research, presentation skills, and all of that went into those media projects are, documentary worthy. So that those DVDs can be promoted within the community just as much as a Hidden Colors, because it probably even more hours and hours of research were poured into these presentations. And it's all there, and it's all very clear, and it really breaks down what's going on with homosexuality and the white degenerate sex assault in the black community. So I will refer someone to those materials. There's also materials, books written by Baba Baruti on the subject as well. There's lectures that he has available on the subject. We do have information, documentary type information about what's going on with the homosexual assault.
I agree. It's like sometimes, and I'm going to mute you just for 1 second, Cousin Sharif, just because there's some feedback in the line. But I agree that we do have to start doing that. We can't expect people who, like, number one, Tariq Nasheed is not somebody that respects black women. That's never been his thing. A lot of the people in Hidden Colors are not sincere. I don't think that there's some pimps, there's some effeminized people, and there's some people with some pretty weak positions. So even though overall it's a good introduction or a decent introduction, it's the best tool we have right now, but we can't really count on those kind of people to deliver the message the way we want it to be delivered.
Yes, I agree. And sister may not know, I'm very familiar with Lady Shabazz and Brother Genie. I was just wondering, since, people coming into consciousness, it seems like they will gravitate towards those, individuals, because of their names or whatever. I was just wondering, if anyone noticed that observation, that I did, because they seem like they go in depth on every other subject, other than that. But you're right, sister, if someone does want, and they're bold enough and courageous enough to want the real deal about those subjects, I myself will refer them to the same, resources that you did. But, I'm still learning. I don't know everything, and I'm still gathering information like the information you and Brother Genie put out there about, what's his name? Is his last name Coleman? Is that his name?
Booker T. Coleman. He's the one in the ponytail.
I was totally in the dark, about that. I thought, the brother was all right, and I seen the photo. I'm like, well, what is that about? So, it is what it is. But I just noticed that was a glaring trend with these, documentaries that are coming out. Because there's a lot of them, the elementary genocide, and some of the same people are knows, but they will not, touch that topic. So I don't know, what the aim is with that, what the purpose is, I guess to make us accepted, I guess. So, but,
I think a lot of those documentaries are just to create more confusion. Like I remember when the whole PBS special came out with Skip Gates, and they were looking into African heritage of different celebrities and whatnot, and everybody that was black was going along with it and thought it was, oh, this is so great, this is wonderful, yada, yada, yada. And then towards the end of the documentary, he didn't go to Africa, he went to Ireland. He went to Ireland and basically was like, look, I have white people in my blood, and y'all all have white people in y'all blood. See, we all mixed up. You need to just accept white people. That was the overall arching theme. So he kind of reeled you in with the African heritage, and then it was the old bait and switch. And then really, it came in with the hidden agenda. Well, you got white in you, so you just need to accept white people, and we all won. So a lot of these documentaries that come out, like that whole 72%, when I saw the clip for that, it's an atrocity. It's interesting how these people are only interested in focusing on the negative aspect of black life. And all those numbers are not accurate. They're not true. There's a lot of black unions that don't go counted. So things are really not as bad as they would like to present, but they just want to put the black woman. They put the black woman in a negative light any opportunity they get. And I feel like they're more interested in selling DVDs than uplifting the community.
That's a very great point, sis. So I'm going to let y'all move on, and I greatly respect y'all as queens, and we need like 10,000 clones to vote for you.
Thank you, brother.
Well,
I love my cousin Sharif. He's showing out everybody in my family is crazy because I'm here all hostile and whatnot. He come in all dapper and then calm and whatnot. There we go. Everybody in my family ain't crazy. All right. We got next up an anonymous call. You're live on War on the Horizon.
For now, I'm just listening. Thank you.
Salams, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, but I'm just listening today.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening in.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Moving along. 4304, you're live on War on the Horizon.
Hello? Oh, is that me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, man? Let's kiss that Prince. It's finally good to talk to you.
Hey, how are you?
What's going on? I've been trying to, I never get to call in. I'm usually working on Sunday, so I'm off today. So, Good to talk to you. I like your books. I just want to throw that out there. I suggest everybody go get your books. The children's books are really good. I'm just throwing that out there, a little plug for you. But, yeah, it's good to talk to you, sisters. Yeah, Sister Freya, yeah, she was dropping knowledge, man. I agree with you guys 100%. I mean, Booker Coleman, you know, I don't want to say the radio show, but I called in on another show last year and spoke to him, and it was interesting because he was telling me about the nature of the beast and about white people stealing our history, and he was schooling me on all this. So when I heard this controversy, a buddy of mine told me, I think about a month ago, about this white girl y'all talking about, I was really surprised. I was like, wow, man, I don't even know who the hell she is. What's her name again? I don't even know who she is, but I'm surprised that he's going around parading her around and stuff. I was actually kind of sad to see that. You know, he's supposed to be an elder. You know, I think that's why a lot of people aren't coming at him, because in our culture we respect our elders. But so no one wants to put him in check. But I mean, you know, if you got a white girl and you kind of show her off to the community like this is someone we're supposed to follow and admire, I mean, you got to call them out on it. I know it's hard and it sounds bad, but it is what it is. You know, I mean, we can't have you bringing in white chicks and trying to get us to say that. You know, like I think she has a comedic name or something. You said that's.
Yeah. He gave it to her. He gave it to her. Her name was Reverend Danny, and he changed it to something like Sekmet Mayat Ka or Ka Mayat or something.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, he gave it to her. He said that because he thinks that her heart's in the right place, that he gonna just throw out our name. Right. And it's definitely a difference between elders and olders. I definitely understand all the people saying don't disrespect your elders, but it's a time when you got an elder, and it's a time when somebody's just old and they're still a cool.
And yeah, and going senile or something, or suffering from dementia. I don't know, but yeah, that's definitely negative. And also, I agree with what the last caller was saying too. The thing about the Hidden Colors, I did like the first one. But the other two are a lot more. They're getting more and more watered down. But it was good as far as history, knowledge. But I actually knew some of us that are conscious, that have a library. I kind of knew about 80% of what was in Hidden Colors. It was kind of more for the people that's not that conscious. But Tariq, the thing about him, where I think he's kind of shiesty, because how are you going to have a movie talking about African culture and history, and then you're still putting out books about gold digging and, you know, calling yourself King Flex, and some of his mannerisms are kind of feminine, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And I just don't trust him. I think we have to really be conscious of that. There are agents out here, and there are people out here that are acting like they're helping us, and they've infiltrated the conscious community. Because if you study COINTELPRO, you know how they operate. So you just have to be mindful. I'm not saying everyone is, you know, because I like, we all got our favorite lecturers and everything, but I like Shahrazad Ali, and I like Francis Chris Wilson and all that. I'm not saying they're all in on it. I'm just saying that he can pay money to get certain people to be in it, but he can still have an ulterior motive. You know, so I'm not saying everybody is an agent. I know a lot of us are getting paranoid right now, but there are some out there. I mean, we can't be naive to that, you know. So, and the documentaries and stuff are cool. I've seen Elementary Genocide. It's good as far as, you know, talking about the prison industrial complex and stuff like that. There's a lot of truth in it. But you just have to be mindful and keep our eye open. There's some people that don't have our best interests, you know, in mind.
Exactly.
But I like the show, and Sister Freya, I know it's not about looks, but, you know, she is a beautiful sister. I just want to say that. I know it's not about physical. I know I'm trying to be spiritual. And what?
So don't get me to matchmaking.
No, I don't want to turn into a matchmaking show. She's a very intelligent black woman, you know, but she happens to be, you know, kind of cute. So I'm just saying that. But good show, though, and, yeah. Okay, that's all I want to say.
Okay. Thank you for blessing us with your presence.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know. I might be having to get that brother's photograph, see what's up. I am an amateur matchmaker.
Oh gosh, keep me on task, Sister Angela.
All right. One thing that I'm going to say before I move on, though, when we're talking about elders and olders, it's a lot of people who have always had some kind of weakness, and it really manifests as they get older. It's some people that were stronger when they were younger, and as they get older, they just start to soften up. But one person that I've kind of been impressed with lately, I'm surprised, is Renoko Rashidi. He's
been turning up. He's been turning up for the Black Nation. Oh, thanks to Brother Renoko Rashidi. Yes.
Yeah, so that's one person, because people always say, we down on everybody, we don't like nobody. Well, I give credit where credit's due. I've been very surprised with Renoko Rashidi lately. He definitely has been getting my respect lately. I'm definitely impressed with some of the stances he's been taking. No apology. He's calm.
I haven't really been motivated to go to any of his presentations, but now I'm feeling so motivated to go to his presentations. It's like he's bringing an unapologetic Black nationalist, stands to the forefront, and I'm really respecting him right now. Like, he's really earned my respect. The pictures were nice and the African history was nice, but I love when people take a stand for our people. That really gets me, that catches my ear.
Exactly, and I felt so bad because he was actually in my city about a week and a half ago, and I really wanted to go, and I just had so many things on my plate I didn't get a chance to. But if he comes back, I'm definitely going to hook up with him and go support him, because anytime I see somebody taking a step in the right direction, maybe I thought that they were kind of in the middle, but now they kind of tipping the scales a little bit, I definitely want to support that person. I think we need to do that, because a lot of times we're looking for the negative. When you see something positive, you need to support them, and I really like some of the things I've seen from him lately. Okay, now I have to remember where I was in this line of calls. Let's go on and move along. 5321, you're live on War on the Horizon. 5321. All right. If you guys have a question or comment, make sure you speak up, because I'm not going to wait 5 minutes to hear from you. 5321, you're live on War on the Horizon. 5321. All right. And 0943, you're live.
I'm just listening.
Okay, thank you for listening. All right, we got an anonymous caller. You're live on War on the Horizon. Anonymous call. All right, when y'all don't say whether y'all just listening in or not, I kind of start wondering if this is Reverend Danny the tranny or who was on the other line. I don't know, but that's just me personally. I'm going to move on, but, if you're just listening, I'm not going to bite. Just say you're just listening. 9129, you're live on War on the Horizon. Oh, so you just going to hang up when I come to you. All right, then. That's how y'all feel tonight. 7508, you're live on War on the Horizon. 7508. All right, I done scared some people off. 5204, you're live on War on the Horizon.
Bargani, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the life and legacy of Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Thanks for taking my call, Lady Shabazz. It's good to hear a strong Black woman on the radio, but I'm just listening.
Thank you for listening. All right. 1785, you're live on War on the Horizon. 1785. Okay, we got a lot of callers, a lot of them just listening in. Everybody's scared to talk. 5402, you're live on War on the Horizon. 5402. All right. And 3355, you're live on War on the Horizon. 3355.
Hello.
Hey,
hello,
how are
can
you?
Hear me? I am good. This is Hotel Mayor Hotel. This is my first time listening in. I was scanning my Facebook page. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and go so I can listen in. You all have been, sister, y'all have been giving out a lot of valuable information. You're on point. I say, dang, that's all I need. But everything, like I said, is on point. I said, wow, okay, dealing with the Hidden Colors videos. I said, when I first viewed it, when I looked at Phil Valentine, I said, something is not right about him. But anyway, and like I said, this is my first time calling in, and I'm enjoying everything that I'm retrieving information and just listening in, and on that note, that's all I got to say. I'm just going to continue listening.
But thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm. You're so welcome.
All right. And just for everybody who is listening in for the first time, like I said, I know I haven't been on the air in about a year or so. My program is going to be every last Sunday of the month, and then any Sunday when I have free time, I'll try to take in another show. But for sure, every last Sunday of the month. This month will be my cousin Sharif, who you heard earlier. He will be on the air with me. He is a brilliant brother, deals with the children in the community as a counselor and other things. He's a brilliant brother, so he will be on. But definitely tune in. Check my Facebook page, Jeannie's Facebook page, for show announcements. Also, you can sign up on the mailing list on War on the Horizon or my email list on my website, authorangela.freeman.com. But if this is your first time listening, I would want to say that I'm not the only program, definitely not. Monday, so that's tomorrow, 7 to 9, we have Irritated Genie on, and his program is always good. So if you're here tonight, we try to be back here tomorrow, same place, same time, and support our brother. Now, I don't know if maybe there was some tech issues with me trying to get some people on the line. Maybe they were trying to speak and not, so I'm going to go down and just check that. 9129, you're live on War on the Horizon.
I'm just listening in.
Okay, thank you for listening. And 2603, you're live on War on the Horizon.
Hey, peace, Queen.
Peace, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm kind of late. What's the topic at hand?
We're talking about a number of things. We're mostly talking about Reverend Danny, who is this white chick who was brought before us, given a name by Booker T. Coleman, a Kemetic name, and now she parades around trying to convince people that she's black and that she is part of our community and we share the same ancestors. And then from that, we started talking about just basically how we need to keep these people out, how we need to keep our information to ourselves and not let these infiltrators in. So that's basically been the topic so far.
Okay. The European chick running around with Booker Coleman.
Right.
Yeah, see, I kind of, when I first I used to check out some of his lectures back in the day, but I don't know if it was his ponytail, but something didn't sit right then with me. So I never really could get into him like that. And then come to find out, he running around with a European chick. And now it's starting to make sense. He pretty much was a fraud the whole time, even though he was talking the so-called truth to power.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad you said that. I said that earlier, never trust a dude with a ponytail. So I'm glad you picked up on that. Yeah, that always stood out to me. And then he always had like feminine mannerisms. That was like, something ain't right there. Right.
And as far as the Hidden Colors 3, I noticed they only got it was only a few like legit people I would say on there, which is Shahrazad Ali, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, and I would have to say Phil Valentine, because Tariq, that dude is an ex-pimp or still going, and I forgot who else was in there. I think brother Johnson, Umar Johnson, he's he's legit. But the rest of them clowns, I wouldn't trust them.
Yes, sir.
But as far as the information, it's all right. It's the information is accurate, but to the people delivering it, some of them is just not legit. So it kind of changed the whole thing.
Yeah, you got to wonder about what their motives are and what they're saying.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for your contribution, King. We definitely appreciate that. Did you have any other comments?
Oh, no, that's it. I just want to give y'all, shout out and blessings to y'all. Just, keep up the fight. It's a soldier on the battlefield.
Thank you. You have a great evening.
All right. Peace.
Lady Shabazz.
Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't it War on the Horizon that exposed the all African Revolutionary Party with what is it? Yoshita, what's the guy's name?
I don't doubt it. I can't say 100% sure, but I don't doubt it because we've been exposed.
They passed a resolution at their last Congress about letting in the LGBT movement, and they had Cleo Manango there.
Okay.
So let me back up and tell you what happened a few years, like 3 years ago. So it's a funny story. So I came into, the clarity, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to just, work with my people, just African people only. I'm not going to do no more of this black-brown coalition, this, coalition, that. I'm going to just deal with my own people. So I also speak Spanish. So a sister friend, this is back in D.C., was like, hey, we have some black people coming from Colombia. Will you do the interpretation for their presentation? If y'all don't know, it's a whole bunch of black people that's in Colombia. So anywho, I said, yeah, absolutely. And I'm thinking, I'm doing this for the people, so I wasn't going to charge her any money or anything like that. I was just going to go do the interpretation. So this is one of my first Pan-African events ever. So I said, okay, well, what time do I need to be there? And she put me in touch with this lady named Penny. So I'm going back and forth with Penny about the time, the topics, and all this different kind of stuff and where I needed to be. So I show up to the event, and I say, okay, I'm the interpreter, and I'm looking for Penny. And they say, oh, there she is over there. And I said, okay. I said, I know, but I'm looking for Penny because she's the one who told me, like, I need to report to her and, like, get the information about the people that's coming to, from Colombia, the sisters. And they kept pointing. I'm like, I don't see her. It was a white lady over there. It was a white lady over there, and I said, that cannot be Penny. You mean to tell me that I've been dealing with the African Revolutionary People Party, back and forth with email with this woman, and this woman is not a sister? I was blown away, and that was my first introduction to really a Pan-African event. I mean, I was blown away. And then I said, well, let me just, okay, I'm not going to walk away. Let me just, I came for those sisters that's coming from Colombia. So anyway, I found out they didn't get their visa, so they couldn't come. But it was droves of white people. White people had came in from out of town, from like Nowheresville, Tennessee to D.C., Nowheresville, Kansas. All these, like, ultra white people, and I was confused. I just didn't understand because I was told that it was the all African People Revolutionary Party. And then once I realized we had got through the presentations, and all he was talking about was, power to the people. They won't even say black power anymore. They say power to the people and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just saying all that to say that isn't it funny how just a few years later they passed a resolution to incorporate LBGT issues into their party? Isn't that ironic how first the white people came and infiltrated, and then next this, and then next that, and then now they're LBGT organization?
Wow. But see, your first clue should have been her name was Penny, because usually that's short for Penelope, and we know Penelope.
Sis, I was naive. I was naive because I know some Kimberlys and some Rebeccas and all that, and they sisters, with super chocolate sisters. So I didn't know if her mama had just made a mistake, and I just assumed, and I wrongfully assumed, African Revolutionary Party means African people. But once I got to the event and I realized how infiltrated it was, it didn't have anything to do with African liberation. And I left about maybe 2 hours into the lecture. I just left. I got up and I used my 2 feet and I removed myself from the situation, and I vowed never to participate in any of their foolishness again.
Waste of time. I think we've all had that happen to us at least once, where you all hype and you go to this event and you get there like, wow, this was a waste of my life that I can never get back this last hour or 3 hours or whatever, because you go there and it's just crackers galore. It's just like, what the heck is going on? And that's exactly what we're talking about. Why are we leaving the gate open? Close the gate, lock the door, not letting these people in. Now, I will say, as far as hidden colors go, we have to be careful with that when we're judging people who are speaking in that, because you never know what they actually said and how it was edited. So unless it's somebody like Ponytail Boy, I tend to be very careful if it sounded like somebody may have been a little weak or something like that, because we don't know how it was edited. And a lot of times from what I've been hearing, it was edited in a certain way to fit, what they were trying to do. But I do know I have not seen Hidden Colors 3. I'm not going to pay to see it. So unless I can see it without paying, I'm just not going to see it. But I will say, I can't speak for everybody in there. Shahrazad Ali, I know personally. I've known her off and on for over a decade. She lives around the corner from my mama as we speak. So, you can say a lot of things about her, but one thing that I know of is that she does not like white people. She is not an integrationist. That I can say about her. I haven't seen that, so I don't know how it was edited or anything like that. But when we're talking about questionable people, not everybody on there was questionable. Ain't nobody perfect, but there are some people on there that were probably solid. But sometimes it's edited in a certain way, or sometimes they have certain names on there just to get you to watch, because they know that the other coons they got on there is going to water it down. So I'm by no means saying that everybody on Hidden Colors was a coon. But it did have its fair share of them, and the person that produced it obviously is questionable. All right, and then, as far as the African thing, another thing that's been going on now, because there's so many white people in Africa and Arabs in Africa, now they are calling themselves African. I worked at a place back in 1998. I worked for an airline, and in our international department, which I had to go to quite a lot. I worked in domestic. There was an Arab who worked in international, and he told me without a doubt he fills out African American. Now, of course, he's not an African American. He had green eyes, very light skin, obviously not a black person, but they get any benefits that were allowed. Now, of course, nowadays we don't get very much affirmative action and nothing like that, but they were able to take advantage of being considered African American, but have none of the bad things that go along with it. So, when they're saying that they are an African organization or an African American organization, that does leave the door open, because now everybody can consider themselves African because we left the gate open. You still there, Sister Freya?
Yes, ma'am. I am. Listening.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we have about 15 minutes left in the show. Did you have anything else on your mind that you wanted to discuss or mention?
I can tell you another funny story.
Okay.
So recently, I go to Louisiana, which was quite the freaking road trip. And I think I'm going to what is an indigenous Moorish ceremony, event, commemoration for the Empress Washita. So I get to the event, which is great. I sit down, and by the time we got there late, and they were watching a documentary. Actually, they were waiting on us to start the documentary. So once we got there and we got seated, they went in and started the documentary, and it was about, indigenous black people who built the mounds all throughout the Americas, but specifically in the South and Louisiana. And after the documentary concluded and we went over to the museum part of the facility, I saw this cracker grab my associate's granddaughter's, sister, granddaughter's hand, and of course I go into attack mode. I'm like, hey, what you doing? You don't touch her, and I'm about to go in on him, and she comes over and says, oh no, he's with us. I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. My heart could have just fallen out of my chest. I just didn't know what to do. I was just flabbergasted. I just didn't know that I was breaking bread with somebody that will let a cracker handle their children, you know. And anyway, as it's all said and done, you know, there was a ceremony. I asked the cracker to leave, and then she told the cracker that she could stay. And it was just a lot of conflict. And then she said, you know, I'm just more enlightened now. I've moved past all of that black stuff. And I said, oh, really? And she said, you know, we can't do it on our own. We need them. That's what she said to me. You know, we need them. We need them. And I didn't contest her. I didn't argue her down. She's been in the nation for like over 20 years, you know, so she already knows a lot, you know. So I didn't really feel the need to contest her. But, I mean, I did have to push her out of my circle. And we had a conversation. We talked about it, and she understood why. But it's just interesting how these things come to light, because I already know that she's a huge liability. We don't have the same objectives, and I don't believe that we need them. And in terms of closing the gate and keeping the gate closed and the ones who are in the gate, kicking them out, we have to have self-confidence and believe in ourselves that we have enough. What is the point of studying our ancestors and realizing all these magnificent things that we've built all across the world, all across the Americas, all across Kemet and Nubia and Timbuktu and the Dogon and all of this history and all of the things that we've invented? That is us. So why is it that now we don't have what it takes to up our mighty nation? Why all of that do we, you know, why are we not still the same great? We are still the same great people. So I really think a lot of it comes down to believing in ourselves as African Black people, that we have what it takes within ourselves. We have scholars, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have inventors, we have educators, we have professors and writers and, you know, all of this, and film producers and builders and electronics and electricians and plumbers, and we have everything to build a nation. All we have to do is commit to building the nation and working among ourselves, and we'll do it, and we'll get it done, and we can keep the gate closed with that level of confidence.
Exactly. I'm going to leave that alone because I live in Detroit where they just voted in a white savior for the mayor, thinking because all these black people were supposedly corrupt, so we get our great white hope to turn our city around. Now half these coons don't have water, and they want to cry and complain, but y'all same coons voted this cracker in thinking he was going to make things better. Obviously not. So sooner or later, we're going to learn these lessons. But we have a couple more people who called in late. I'm not sure if they have a question or comment, so I'm going to quickly run down the line to see if there's any contributions. 9066, you're live on War on the Horizon.
Habibi Fahodie, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Khalid Muhammad. I just wanted to tell you, sisters, that I greatly appreciate this evening's conversation. I joined it late, so I didn't get to hear everything, but what I heard is powerful and on point, sane, logical, and life-affirming for our people, for African people. I'm not concerned about the others. I am concerned about my own. I hear that in both of you. I hear conviction, and I just wanted to say, Madase, I wanted to say thank you, because I have been in this movement, if you will, although it doesn't appear that we're moving too much right now. I've been in it for a while, studied under Welsing, other people, other great thinkers, Amos Wilson. I have been in the African so-called spiritual community, which I doubt very seriously now because of what I have seen, what I have witnessed, and it is just comforting to hear two sisters who also are doubting the veracity of some of the people who are being put before us as people who are to be followed and looked up to and learned from. I in looking at the African community, I'm in the D.C. area as well, and there has been one particular person who has taught African dance in the community for years. This person is a blatant homosexual.
Mm.
And no one has ever challenged it. Not just homosexual, pedophile.
Mm.
And no one has ever challenged it. And we just let things go on. This person has turned young boys out left and right. And I've heard stories of things of a person who was actually learning from this person and saw things, and they came back and they told me. And so it's made me pull back, and I don't associate too much with my own folks. I don't associate with the mothers either. But just to know that this type of thing is going on and not being able to really have conversations, real conversations with people who are aware that there are some serious things that need to be addressed. It is just wonderful to hear it. Normally, I don't have anything to say. I just called to listen, but I had to just chime in for a moment to just share that it means a lot to be able to hear the two of you sisters talking. So with that, I wish you more power, Black power.
Black power. Thank you so much for that call. I believe, I may be mistaken, that I heard the sister call in before, and I think I've even heard her possibly call in on Jeannie's show. So if it's the sister I'm thinking about, I love her spirit. I love everything she says. And so I definitely thank you for calling in. And that's what I'm talking about, leaving the gate open. So, okay, we know the cracker is a problem, but now y'all letting these anti-sexuals in, and not just anti-sexuals, because we know that the goal of most anti-sexuals is to molest our children and turn our children into freaks of nature. And we're standing by and still letting this happen. I know the sister isn't the only one that knows about it. Where are the brothers who are strong enough to go and handle this? Because he should be nowhere around our children. He shouldn't have the capability to be around anybody. He should be removed in whatever way is necessary. So it's hard for me to understand why these people are still here, why nobody will close the gate. Okay.
Well, I'm hoping that sister will reach out to War on the Horizon so that we can get some eyes and ears on the street to expose this individual and protect children. So I hope you'll take action and give some names, and we can start, spreading around in the community about what's going on, because parents need to know, not to leave their children, in the care of whatever that individual is that's putting their hands on them inappropriately. That needs to stop.
Sure, and anytime you have any information like that, I'm sure you know that you can always send it to liberation@waronthehorizon.com. And, we've been in the habit of exposing people lately, so feel free to do that.
You're right.
Have no problem with that. We on a roll. Why not take one more down? 0076, you're live on War on the Horizon. 0076. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, did you have a question or comment?
No, I just want to say great job.
Thank you so much. All right. Peace. 8231, you are live on War on the Horizon. 8231. All right. Okay, so this has definitely been a interesting show. I've had a good time. I know I started off trying to not be belligerent, but I actually had a good time. This was a very, very good dialogue. I thank you so much for balancing me out tonight, sis, and for doing the video. For anybody that's my Facebook friend, I did post that video about an hour and a half ago on my Facebook page. So if you go to the Angela Lady Shabazz Freeman page on Facebook, you'll be able to see it, so that you can see what she was talking about, because she made a lot of good points about, even photographing yourself. You're in the middle of a ceremony. I saw this not too long ago here in Detroit. You're in the middle of doing this sacred ceremony, and it's 50 million pictures. When did you have time to take all these pictures and post them to Facebook? You're supposed to be doing the ceremony. That's supposed to be your focus. Why is it 50 gazillion pictures and you posed up and all this other stuff and selfies and group pictures? You're supposed to be doing the ceremony. So it just, to me, that was a brilliant video, and it was right on time to talk about keeping some things to yourself. Not everything needs to be broadcast publicly, because these demons and these coons will take everything that you share and use it against you, and then try to take your birthright. And that's what we're seeing going on right now. So we have a few minutes left in the broadcast. If you just want to close out, any last thoughts, or give your contact information again so that people can definitely keep in touch with you.
Absolutely. I specialize in healing the black womb, and you can find more information about Root Mama Maternal Care on my website, www.rootmama, that's ROOTMAMA.org. You can sign up for my e-newsletter. I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/rootmama. So I just look forward to continuing to build, and this has been an excellent topic. Thanks to the entire War on the Horizon family and you, Lady Shabazz, for really staying on top of some of these different characters that are popping up in the community and misleading our people down a path that's not leading towards liberation, and getting us back on track. Exposing the foolishness and the coonery, so that we can be clear-minded and really committed to building and upping our mighty black nation. So I give thanks to you all for being on the forefront of that very mission.
All right, and thank you so much for coming back on the program. I know you were on the program last time when I had a radio program, and then we did a program on Google Plus, and now you're back again. So I thank you for joining me so many times.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
All right. Well, you take care. Peace.
Peace.
All right, so that wraps up another Message to the Black Fam program. The next program will be in about 3 weeks, I think it is. Sunday the 31st. So you can always look forward to me having a program on the last Sunday of the month. And then just keep up with me on Facebook or War on the Horizon's email list, because I will throw a couple more in there during the month. It just depends on my schedule, which unfortunately can be very hectic. So whenever I get more time, I will be in to do a program, hopefully multiple times a month. I do want to thank... Oh, what's going on? There we go. I do thank everybody for calling in. Definitely appreciate it. And just stay on top of these people. When you see these people crooning, you have to start calling them on it, because the more we let them get away with it, the more they will. And it's not only up to the brothers, it's up to the sisters too, because in this situation with this beast, she's going directly at us. She's trying to take our birthright, and I would suspect trying to take our men if she hasn't already. She's trying to learn more than the laws of Ma'at. So we need to definitely check that. And when these effeminized brothers, these very suspect brothers, try to do this, we have to check them. Just like I said in the beginning, that these white women who come into our community do not like black women. It's my opinion that a lot of these feminized black men don't either. That's why they're doing it. They know what they're doing. They're trying to replace us any way they can, and we can't stand by and let it happen just because they're quote-unquote an elder, or just because they have some respect in the community, or just because they've done some good things. Well, every good thing you're doing is being deleted by the way you cooning now. And then you don't even apologize. You're going to stand by this woman and defend this woman. It makes not a bit of sense. So we have to really start calling these people out on that, and that's why I did this show. So I know that, like I said, when I post this on YouTube, it's going to be a lot of trolls saying a lot of things. I really don't care. If you are that blind that you're willing to give up your birthright to some she-devil, you go ahead and do it, but we ain't going to let it happen. Not on our watch. You guys take care until next time.